Spread the fire. I'm here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre where the parliamentary first sitting is happening. We are going to get a new president, a new speaker and a new deputy speaker. You can probably hear the sitting behind you. I'm here to keep you updated. The first thing I would say that's very interesting, because you talk to people on the outskirts here, they won't necessarily give you their name, but they'll give you an off-the-record perspective, is that it looks like things are very fluid when it comes to speaker, deputy speaker, and I don't think anyone knows yet who is going to be elected. There seem to be three scenarios. One is just the pure ANC scenario, where the ANC fields a candidate for speaker and they win that vote. Then there's a scenario where one of the ANC's partners in this emerging government of national unity coalition thingy-majig ends up as the speaker. So we could see a DA speaker. Or, and last night this emerged, the EFF is also pushing very hard for a speaker candidate, and that seems to have given the ANC an interesting decision and discussion internally. No one knows what's happening. As for government and cabinet, it's clear that will only be discussed and finalized way after this sitting. So today we're here for the president. I think the president is going to be pretty clear. We know that that's going to be Cyril Ramaphosa by all accounts here, but watch for speaker, watch for deputy speaker. And the interesting thing is, in the sitting, it's the vote for speaker that comes before the vote for president. Just to let you know how things are working in the morning, MPs are going to be sworn in. That usually takes a while because there are 400 of them. Well, if MK doesn't show up, it'll be a bit fewer, but it takes a while to swear them in. And then the voting process can also take a while because it's by secret ballot. The voting process is very sacrosanct, and each vote has to be counted very carefully and recorded. And it takes a lot of time to get those 400 votes and count them. And if there are multiple rounds of voting, that can go on further. Fun fact, according to Schedule 3 of the Constitution in the vote for president, if there's a tie, then the sitting has to be called within 7 days. And as far as I understand, there's a time limit of 14 days. So I don't know what happens if there's a tie that says you have to push the sitting to 7 days when you're already at the 14-day limit. But wiser legal minds can figure that out for me. I just thought that would be an interesting perspective for you as well. It's going to be interesting to hear those who speak today, and particularly the reactions. We're going to be here all day, coming to you and giving you that reaction. Now, what I think is key here is, I think it would be quite disappointing to see both an ANC president and an ANC speaker, because that would mean that this idea of the electorate voting for change and wanting to see different parties, whether that be the DA or the EFF or other parties, the national anthem just started playing in the background. We didn't plan that. But I think the ANC getting both of those positions would be quite disappointing, to the extent that it would be more of the same when the electorate has voted for change. They've been speaking a lot about humility, and I was at the NEC media briefing yesterday, and it's clear that the party wants to suggest that they are humble, they know what the electorate has said, they've been rejected by a majority of the electorate. I think they need to demonstrate that by being prepared to give up certain aspects and levers of power, and the speaker would seem to be one that would be a strategic one to give up, to signal to the nation that we are in this new moment of unity between different kinds of parties. So an ANC president and speaker, I think, would be strategically brilliant from the ANC, because it would mean that they would have outmaneuvered the entire opposition, which is actually bigger than them, and they would have been able to demonstrate that they still have the strategic ability to outsmart the opposition and secure key positions. And that could be an important sign going forward, that they will be able to dominate the government of national unity by particularly playing opposition parties off against each other. And if I'm an ANC strategist, I'm starting to realize that, if we can divide the opposition that's against us, play them off against each other, we can actually secure important concessions at each juncture of this road, because the opposition itself is disunited. And that is the problem with a disunited opposition, is that because they are disunited, the ANC is able to pick them off at different times. So if the ANC gets a speaker, then I think that's something we could see. If the DA gets a speaker today, then I think what we'll see is that the ANC-DA plus coalition, GNU, thingy-majiggy, quasi-GNU, half GNU, not really a GNU, seems to be sticking together. They're serious about their business, and they will have secured an important first step in uniting uniting and coming together. An EFF speaker is potentially the biggest bombshell that could come out of today, and if that happens, what that means really is that this ANC-DA alliance is not as secure as it looks, and in fact, President Ramaphosa will be reaching across different aisles to try and get EFF support. The EFF will kind of be a quasi-part of the GNU. They won't be a formal part of the cabinet, but because they will have been given the speaker, they will have more of a stake and they will play an important oversight role. What I'd like to see is one of the later two scenarios, either a DA speaker or an EFF speaker. I think that would be an important moment for our country to say, you know what, we're moving into a new era and positions of power must now be, we want to try something new. It has nothing to do with policy. It has nothing to do with national directions of policy. It has to do with oversight and accountability. And I believe the opposition in South Africa deserves a right to exercise full oversight over whatever government comes. And that's something that I'd personally like to see. Now, I just want to give you an update of the ANC conference yesterday because I saw some things that you might not have seen on TV. First thing is that I got the sense that it was there were quite a lot of debates. It was interesting to me that Fikile Mbalula came in and his voice was already quite hoarse from clearly having lots of discussions as well. Now, he suggested in the meeting that, it was a very quick, very easy meeting, but I'm not so sure. I think at this crucial time in our country's history, there are still debates going on inside the party about which direction they should be taking and what the best direction is. What was clear is that there is this message from the ANC that they want to project humility, and I think that's a good thing. I will be the first to give the ANC credit, President Cyril Ramaphosa credit, for the way in which he has accepted the election results and the rhetoric that the ANC has used to say, we understand we've lost a lot of power and we have to humble ourselves before the electorate. But it's one thing saying that, it's another doing it. And if the ANC tries to dominate too much power and overplay their hands, there's going to be a reaction from the electorate, because ultimately, as much as the message was sent that parties need to work together, they need to work together in a context in which the ANC doesn't dominate like before. And so I think the ANC needs to be careful of overplaying its hand, because while that could be strategic in the short term for the ANC dominating positions in cabinet, in parliament, etc., in the long term, ultimately I think the electorate won't like that. People want to see some kind of change, and the ANC must be mindful of that. We also had the EFF press conference, so check that out. I've already done a reaction video to that. What are your thoughts? Like, comment, share. We are right here. We've got you covered. So many people have sent me messages. It's crazy how this channel is growing. I think it's fair to say we're the #1 current affairs channel in South Africa right now, independent, digital, youth focus. And so many people have sent me messages saying, you know what, I come to your channel because I know that there's an obvious pre-existing bias in mainstream media. And I'm not saying that this channel is completely objective. No one is completely objective, but we give you a different perspective. And it's a perspective that I think you need to add to your media diet, because it's something that hasn't existed before. And I really appreciate all the support you've been giving the channel. By the way, only the cool kids own these hoodies. So if you haven't got your SMWX hoodie, make sure you get one. And I also want to thank those important supporters who have got us to Cape Town and have helped us with our travel here. So you'll check that out in the adverts that come. Please show some love to those companies that have helped us, both accommodated us and helped us with our travel to and from Parliament and the airport. Shout out to all the SMWX fam. We've got you covered. Lots and lots of content coming today and over the subsequent days. Stay right locked to wherever you're watching this and listening to this. I just also like to thank two companies that are part of this SMWX community who have really helped us on this Cape Town trip to bring you all the content we're going to bring you. The first company is Black Brick. They have accommodated the SMWX team and also given you this wonderful venue from which we're going to shoot some content when we're not at Parliament. So I'd really like to thank the people at Black Brick in Cape Town, but they're also in multiple places in South Africa. If you're ever looking for excellent accommodation, make sure you check out Black Brick. And I'd also like to thank the people at Lula who are helping to transport the SMWX crew as we bring you this coverage. Lula's a company that takes particularly crews and companies and workers, whether you're going to a festival or you have an off-site event where you're transporting lots of people. Lula gets you from A to B in a really seamless way. And I want to give a big shout out to Lula. Thank you for watching this channel. Thank you for continuing to build and grow this channel into an important, independent digital force in South African politics. And I think after this government is formed, we might just be that crucial counterweight, that crucial critical voice that our country very much needs. See you in the comments. Aye.